I see your demons, I'm telling them it's on sight. I'm just playing, I don't fight, I do pray. I only go the way of Mr. Yahweh. Try to correct me.
It's been great. I want to say I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have me here. All the way from White Plains, New York. But I made it over here. It was like an hour and 40 minutes, but
that's crazy.
It was great. You know, when you called me and you contacted me and you said you were coming to New Jersey, you know, I made some time to come in.
Oh, you made a long distance too, an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah. It was good. It was a good try though. Yeah.
Well, I had no expectation whether you came or not. I was grateful that you even considered it, but I feel very honored that you came all the way over here. We get to go to dinner afterwards. This was more like an impromptu podcast. Like Carolyn was like, "Hey, we have a studio," and I was like, "Okay, well, I guess we're gonna. Why not, right?" And so, thank you for being open, man.
Thank you, Angela. I appreciate you and James for everything that you guys do in terms of collaborating with the cleaning industry and the community.
Well, you set a very. I would say you have one of the highest standards in the industry, in a good way. You guys go for excellence. Even from when we jump on Zoom calls and you see your office. Your office is like clean, super set up. You're well structured. You guys win multiple awards across Westchester and other area, White Plains and other areas of New York. Like, where does that excellence? Let's get into it. Where does that excellence come from, man?
I think it all comes down to when we talk about the wow, right? When we live in the I like to say we live the wow culture. It's not just cleaning. I like to say it's a lifestyle. Our wow culture, when we talk about wow, it signifies and it stands for wow, working with integrity, operating with excellence, and having a winning attitude. I think the level of excellence, how we portray and bring excellence to our clients, it's the companies, our people. You know, our people first approach. It's very important in order for us to be able to put ourselves into a successful partnership with our clients.
When we first met, you're definitely not the size that you are today, and you definitely don't sound like the same guy that was there. Was it almost 3 years ago? Dos años? 3? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 3 years. I've been in the business for 18 years, right? So think of it, I've been working in the business for 18 years. And in the last 3 years, I decided to self-develop myself, become a better leader, a better version of myself. Because in order for me to lead, 1,000 people, 500 people, I need to become a better leader myself so I can reflect that to my team. Because their failure is my failure. Yeah. So I like to say that I have a servant leadership philosophy where we look at a pyramid structure where the CEO supposedly is on top of the pyramid. I like to say we're in the inverse pyramid, where I'm on the bottom and I'm serving our employees, our frontline technicians, our C-level management. But at the end of the day, I'm here to serve my people.
Yeah. And where do you get that training from? Well, not training. Where do you get like that servant leadership? Where does that? Because I don't know if everybody's a servant leader for sure, right? Where does that? Where's it born from?
I would say when I started the business 18 years ago with my family, right, I always like to say I lead by example. I once was a cleaner or a janitor. I cleaned my mom, my father, and my brother. That's how I started. I like to say that my parents are the co-founders of the company. I couldn't have done it without the support of my mom and my family.
Are they still in the business?
No, they're not in the business. They were like, they helped me and give me that extra support system. Gotcha. When I started the business, I used to work in banking during the day, and we used to clean the banks at night. So at night, they gave me that support system. I didn't know anything about cleaning.
Wait, when you say you worked in banking, you were in a bank?
I worked for the same bank that I used to clean.
What was it, like a teller? Or like
No, I worked for as a credit analyst in the corporate office. Yes, underwriting. Yeah, middle market lending. Yes. And then corporate offices, they didn't know me, right? In the retail banks, the retail is where I used to clean those particular places. Yeah.
Well, that makes, so that with and now I know how you dress, how you show up. That makes sense. Do you get a lot of your inspiration for your company from the banking years?
Yes, 18 years ago when I started the business, right? And I had the great opportunity to be the facility manager for the same bank that I used to work. They had the big wow culture, they call it. It was the first bank, it was a commerce bank at that time. It was the first bank that opened 7 days a week, late hours, and they wanted to wow the customer. They had they had a wow mascot. And when I had the opportunity to pitch the opportunity for the cleaning, I didn't have a company name. And they only gave me about 3 days for me to present, right? So I was at home and I said, okay, I went to Staples, I got the semi-gloss, business cards.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't have a company, but I wanted to at least have a business card for the presentation or the pitch that I had to go next week. And then I thought about it and I said, how do I relate the banking with cleaning? And I know the bank would speak with the wow culture. They had that wow. So I said, let me call it Wow Cleaning Services. So that was the origin. That's the origin of wow. Yeah, yes. And then we embraced that wow, not only as an expression of when you walk into a space and everything is spotless, but we embrace it as part of our culture, which now wow signifies integrity, excellence, and a winning attitude, an attitude of gratitude, I would say.
Nice, man. Yeah. Can't believe I've known you for almost 3 years. I didn't know that story. I didn't even know you were in banking, so that's very good.
I used to work in banking now. I'm trying to now share my story so I can hopefully motivate and inspire other people, because the challenges and the peaks and ups and downs that I've gone through 18 years, I think it's time for me to now step up into the leadership role and come out of my comfort zone in a way, because I'm an introvert at heart, to tell you the truth. My brain works very different.
Really?
But when I put myself
I would have never thought you were an introvert. You're working very, very hard. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to put myself to share the wow story and to share how I built the company and provide other building service contractors an opportunity to learn from me, from my experience, right? I don't have everything, figured out, but I know that I can provide them some type of help and experience of 18 years that I've been in the business.
Wow, man. I can't say the word wow, I love it. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. How has your credit analyst experience come in handy when requesting loans, maybe revolving rights of credit, things like that? Like, do you use your knowledge from the banking days to also fill in? Yeah,
of course. I major in finance and economics, so that was my major. But when it comes down to knowing the numbers, for example, knowing your balance sheet, knowing your financial statements, knowing your cash flow, when you're running a business as a CEO or president of a company, it's crucial. It's very important. I know a lot of small business owners might not have that education or might not know how to properly structure or read a financial statement or cash flow, right? Well, that's my specialty. That's what I did. That's what I analyzed. So for me, it was very helpful not only to successfully run my company with great profit margins, yes, but also be able to structure the company cash flow financially to be able to get financing to invest into our corporate office, invest in a line of equity, working line of equities. So it did involve the finance piece, and the credit analyst did help out a lot overall in investing. Not only on the company side, but on the overall business.
Yeah. What are some maybe like 2-3 mistakes because I know you say you want to help the smaller side, like the people that want to learn about your story. What are some top 3 mistakes that usually you'd say people make as CEOs when it comes down to the financials?
When it comes down to the financials, I would say understanding their overhead costs. I think that's a big one. You want to make sure you put in all your overhead costs, your labor, your material, just basic stuff. You might be thinking that you're making 20 or 30% profit margin, but at the end of the day, when you start putting in and breaking down every single cost, indirect and direct costs, then you have a lot of other costs and expenses that are not really there. So that's one of the mistakes, I guess, at the beginning when I will say that people sometimes realize and then they underbid it, right? Or they think that they're pricing it competitively. But in the meantime, they're hurting themselves because they might be working at a 1% of break-even profit. So I think that's the biggest one. The second one, understanding how to leverage your credit. That is huge. Like, you have to have a great credit on the personal side, because at the end of the day, you are the business. Yeah. In order for you to provide finance, in order for us to provide financing to the business, you are the business. So maintain and pay your credit cards on time. Create that cash flow or that income and expense report, so you understand exactly what your income, what is coming in and what is coming out, and just understand your simple basics of knowing what your profit is and what your net income is at the end of the day. And the third one, I will say, not more on the finance side, it will be more about the recruiting side.
Interesting. Okay.
Like retaining great talent, like recruiting a great team of members. I think that's that's been I guess the greatest struggle for me, to try to get that right management team in place that resembles and aligns with our company mission and vision and our core values. For me, that's a work in progress. That's the time that I spend myself on recruiting, especially as I start putting myself to scale or grow the company. I want to be able to hire C-level management that can reflect and align with our vision.
But you've hired some great people. I mean, I'll be honest, when we sit with your team, it's usually it's always very impressive. So you have learned some things about recruiting and hiring the right team. What's some advice you would give people on hiring the right team?
I would say more of on the operational side, yes, we have gotten really great people around the operations side. But more on for example, on the C-level management, we're now developing, for example, I call it a growth department or a sales department, a sales team. So creating that inside sales team internally, in-house, and being able to hire a VP of sales, right? So that's something that I try to now understand and learn more, so I can ask the right questions when I'm recruiting a VP of sales. Because I do like sales, but I'm more of a relationship selling, right? Setting goals, structuring commission, the right salary, making it more competitive and incentivized, so they're able to come on board and believe in what we're going to be doing. So I like to put in that vision and that strategic goal of where we're going to be going. But at the end of the day, they also have to believe in that. You know? And it is my job to make sure that they believe that they're going to accomplish those goals. And in order for me to set them for success, I need to create enough leads and opportunities inside so they can go out there and close those opportunities.
And structuring commissions properly so you're not losing money. You're right. Some people don't know how to structure the commission. Or some commissions in janitorial are actually not the highest compared to other industries. They're actually pretty low, but you retain them. Like, they're good contracts. So you can win a 2, 3, 5 year contract in janitorial. Very interesting. I'm excited to see who your VP of, whoever the next VP of sales. Shout out to you.
That's the
hear
one.
This later, that Christian was thinking about all this and executing all this right now.
That's a work in progress, but it's a journey, right? It's a challenge, but that's what we to enjoy that journey and live that present moment at the same time. Because even though we're going through many different challenges in our businesses overall, I still like to have my faith, right? My family, and I think that's what keeps me going.
Like to have my faith and my family, of course.
Because that's my engine, That's my energy. That's my inner pride drive.
What family and faith?
Yes.
Would you say those are your top priorities?
Yeah, I would say God first and my family, obviously, and then work.
Nice.
So
and where does that? Yeah, I would say God, family, business. I say the same thing. So that's why we align so much. Yeah, even I think you have that. You have the Immaculate Heart of Jesus in the back, if I'm not mistaken.
Christ on the back, where I have that for almost 25 years. Right? When I came to this country, because I'm originally from Ecuador. I came here when I was 12 years old. So we were with my parents going out to garage sales, and we saw this Jesus Christ portrait. Cost me like 25 cents, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And is that same frame?
It's the same frame.
Wow.
Kept it, this whole time. So whenever I have those Zoom meetings, that's the.
Yeah, I know. It's like Jesus is staring at you whenever you're talking to Christian.
Looking at my back.
Watching your back.
He's always there, I always believe in God, but He has done many things to increase my faith, I would say.
All right, cool. I want to touch on that real quick, if that's okay with you. I think one thing you and I connected, outside of business, outside of family, we've hung out at our events, at ISSA, live, now here, we talk a lot, which I love. But I know that I can't because I feel like you're always going to be a brother in Christ, and I love that. How do you keep enforcing your faith throughout these? Because I'm sure business can teach you lows, life, marriage, everything. So how do you stay strong with God?
I like to read the Bible. Certain quotes. I'm a big believer of the quotes. One of my quotes that I always repeat myself whenever I feel anxious or have some type of fear. It's I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. For me, that's Philippians 14:13. For me, that's a big affirmation for me. In just those quotes, I can do all things through Christ. With God, everything is possible. So there are many affirmations that I use that can help me and gives me peace of mind to be able to guide me and do God's will, I guess I would say.
100%.
And then from there, I like to have him lead me, but at the same time, I always ask for his wisdom.
Yeah.
For me, that's what I ask. Give me the wisdom to be able to make the right decision and become not only a great leader for my team, but become a better father, right? Become a better husband, a better human being in general. And that's a work in progress. I try to be aware and conscientious of how I behave, how I react, right? And how I think. And trying to renew my mindset
100%.
by reading a lot, not only Bible, but reading a lot of leadership and self-development books that can also teach me on the emotional intelligence side, be able to have some empathy, compassion towards people. I think reading has helped me a lot as well, and understanding certain subjects in terms of becoming a better leader for my people and for my employees.
Man, well, I know anybody that knows you, brother, knows that you have a level of excellence, but that excellence does definitely come backed up by faith, by family. Like, it's not just excellence without any substance. I know that you have excellence because of who's leading you, which is God. So, man, I just want to thank you for being on this podcast. Super pumped. I'm so glad that you got to be here in person. And we'll definitely have to do this again sometime and do a whole hour podcast and dive deep into it. But I just wanted to thank you and for making that drive, brother. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you, Angel, and say hi to Jane as well, and thank you, the Profitable Cleaners. And let's keep looking forward to the September event that you guys are having. So let's move forward. Yeah, it's going to be a great time to meet everybody again and reunite. Yes.
Let's do it. Thanks so much, brother. Appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Imagine over 300 cleaning executives, all under one roof, ready to connect, collaborate, and build a community. Join your hosts, James Harper and Angel Sandoval, 11 keynote speakers and 8 expert panelists sharing the blueprint to scale your life and business. Head over to event.cleaningprofits.com for all the details. For being listeners, use code CEO30 for a 30% discount. See you there.
Perfect. So, Diana, how you been?
I'm good.
This is our 3rd episode together, right? And you've been in our roundtables before too. You've been involved with us a lot. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
But I will tell you this, from the first time we had you to now, you seem like a complete different person. And your business seems very different. What has been your most successful investment so far that have given you the best return? Doesn't have to be like money. It could be structure. It could be return on objective. Maybe just made you happier. What have been some of the things?
Investing in an advisor.
Okay.
Someone from the industry who really knew more than me. And I was able to just pick his brain, get more information, and actually make changes in my organization, feeling more secure because I already knew someone who has done it in the past. So that was, I guess, the biggest investment.
What led you to invest into an advisor? Like, what were some of those, like, because you guys were very decently sized. I mean, better than most companies. And you humbled yourself down and said, you know what? I think I need help. That's not easy for someone to say in your position, because you could have easily kept going on your own.
Well, I think part of the process of being a leader is also being humble enough to know that you don't know it all and that it is a process. And if you really want to get to the next level, want to get your team to the next level or your company to the next level, it has to start with you, right? I have so many people and so many families that depend on my decisions that one mistake is not just Diana's mistake or it's going to cause me a little bit of money here and there. It's just so many other people behind me that I just wanted to make the best decisions that I can and with the most information available to me, right? And that going with someone who has done it before, who has experience, who has been in the industry, I think it was the best way.
Well, I like how every time we interview you, you always say, there's more people behind me. Like, it's not just me making a decision for Diana or for Babco. It's you're somebody's retirement plan, which that to me always, every time someone's like, yeah, I'm retiring here, I'm like, oh my God, like the amount of pressure that comes with that, but you humbled yourself enough to do it. So question, How do you stay? What are some things that keep you humble? How do you stay humble? Some everyday things.
I really spend time on self-improvement books or podcast,
Okay.
listening to and working on that, working on just being a better leader. I think people, kids, people in general, your team, they learn by example.
Yeah.
So staying within, always having that empathy. Every decision that you're going to make as a leader is, how is this impacting not just my wallet, not just my margins or my finance, but how is this impacting my team?
Yeah.
Is it sustainable? How long can we keep this up? So I just try to be in whatever decision I'm making, seeing how this is going to affect everybody else around me, not just me, and really focus on that. It was harder at the beginning when I started working on this, but the more you do it, it just becomes your habit.
Yeah.
Just
You're very selfless. Very. How do you measure the line between like, okay, so every time I make a decision, it's like I got to think of everybody, but you also have to almost separate the business from like, you can't think of everybody all the time, right? Like it can't be an
100%.
emotional, because then you get so emotional about it and you're like, I don't think that'll be right. But through advisors, right, through mentors, there's sometimes you just got to make those tough decisions that maybe are not the...
So I think I was thinking of decisions of, I understand what you're saying. And of course I had to make really hard decisions sometimes. Cutting a budget, letting people go. Of course I had to make those hard decisions. But I think when you try to do your best, right, with the resources that you have, and when there is really no bad intentions, and you do, then it's not as hard.
Yeah.
Because you really try. You try to make it work, or you move, but it's always trying to improve and not just thinking about your benefit, like a personal benefit, but it's a group benefit. So it's a win-win for everybody. And I think having that peace of mind is just easier to make decisions, even though sometimes you have to cut people out and you need to, even though you love this person, you are making the best decision for your company. And sometimes that means cutting people out or cutting budgets, but there is really no guilt with it, right?
I think that's good. When you have the right intention, there's no guilt that comes with the decision, because the decision comes with the right intention. You've been growing a lot. You can sense it just even walking in. I can sense like more methodical, more strategical. You can tell you've been, I don't even want to ask what the new goal for Babco is, because I just feel like it's going to be a lot. But let me ask you a question. Through this advisor and the investments, the growth, structuring that you've done for your company, how has that impacted you leading your daughter now that she has a business?
Oh, she's like a total different CEO herself.
Okay.
She does take advice. Sometimes she'll ask, but she's a very independent entrepreneur herself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she does jewelry?
She does jewelry, yes.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the things I said. I think people learn by example. She has seen her mom work ethic. She's 18, turning 19. So she have seen it, right, all these years. And I think it's just coming out naturally for her.
Do you ever like mastermind with her? Like, do you guys ever just like sit down, talk business and do all that? Or is it more from far away? Like,
no, actually our conversations are always like, what do you think I should do? Should I do this? Or what do you think I should do that? And then constantly, and I can talk out loud about Babco's new plans, or what we doing, where are we going? And she's always like, oh yeah, I love that. I think you should do this. Or it just comes very natural. It's like cooking and then talking about business.
Oh, that sounds like the perfect. Now, is your son going on to entrepreneurship? He's younger?
He's younger. He's 16.
Has he been talking
17.
about that, or?
He's really passionate about law.
Really?
So I guess
that's
eventually he wants to be Babco's lawyer and join us too.
There you go.
That's
never a bad thing to have. Lawyers, you need it.
Of course.
A lot of people don't realize the importance of the right documentation, law, how things are written, things like that. What has your daughter ever given you any advice that you were like, whoa, and then you actually implemented it? Or is she more of a sounding board?
don't recall right now to give you something out of my head if she has ever. But definitely if I can talk about, like, we'll talk about it with my sister or my mom or somebody will make, I really like to listen to my team and make group decisions when it has to do with, but I'm sure I just don't recall any right now.
No, I'm sure she has. How do you guys make group decisions? What kind of, for somebody that's listening to this, maybe they just finally got their team of 5. How do you, whenever it's time to make a decision, how do you go through that meeting? Because it's one thing, there's some CEOs that'll be like, I'm making the final one regardless. I don't care. And then there's some people that over-involve the group and now no one's making a decision. How do you
so that happens sometimes. So I have like a group of, my finance team and my operations team. So there's one leader each and it could be Daniela, Angie, Jenny. We sit down and we'll be like, okay, this is going on. Like, this is the issue. Mostly operations. I think for a service company, a lot of times operations is that heart of everything that we do. And then my CFO has to be there to kind of make her recommendations on any decisions that we're making. But just throwing it out there so that everybody is worried about their department, right? So it can't just come from me, because if operations is involved, then money is involved, then customer service is involved, like we need to get into a group and then like what should we do? And then it's easy for us. We really have a great atmosphere, a great culture, and everybody listens to each other, and it's not just one person decisions. I think it's a group decision.
But Diana, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be recording any of these episodes. You actually decided to bring us out here and visit Babco. I'm super excited to visit the facility. I'm just hoping I got my Babco shirt. That's my only goal.
Of course,
right
we're
now.
going to get you a Babco
That's all
shirt.
I care about right now in this trip.
You get a Babco shirt, Babco umbrella.
Oh,
Babco
umbrella.
hat.
Do you guys have all kinds of swag?
We do have little
An
swags.
umbrella? I'm going to take a whole photo shoot. Be ready just with my umbrella.
Very notable.
Exactly. But why do you invest so much in training? You invest a lot in training.
Yes, I do it I love learning. And I think investing in my team, self-improvement, it's very important. Because if one person is growing and everybody else stays behind, then it's like rowing in a boat different directions. I think that when we all grow together as a team, it's just faster. It's just, everybody's going the same way. And I just think it's necessary.
I love it. I'm excited to be able to be there. I planned something very special for your team, so I know you won't get to see it. So, but everybody else will.
I'm excited.
Yeah, you'll just be on the outside, like, yeah, that looks fun. Let me ask you a question. One thing that people know is woman-owned, but most of your leaders, if not all your leaders, are women.
Yes.
Is still the vision to keep it all women?
I don't think it's a vision. It just happens. I think it's energy.
Okay.
We're attracting. Like right now, I'm recruiting for my director of HR. Okay. And we interview probably 10 people, girls and women, guys, women, men, all great resumes. And then as soon as we started doing the interviews, it just happens that we are just surrounded with, I just love independent and strong-minded women, good moms, like family-oriented people. I always keep saying that to me, in the type of industry that we're in, empathy is really important because we're cleaners and it's a hard job. So making smart decisions, but thinking of the people, and I think, I'm not saying women get it. I think we just get it easier. We understand how difficult it is for moms who has 100%. Kids and having to get in a bus and walking and driving and then having to get to a job and clean. It's just a very physical, exhausting. It's just they get tired. Yeah. So I think it's important that anybody who's part of Babco, who is up here making decisions with me, understands that.
The empathetic. I agree. If a man ever says we can be as empathetic as a woman, we're just lying to ourselves. It's a different level of empathy, I would feel. So it was never intended for it just to be all women.
Yeah, it just happened.
Cool. Oh, I see. I never knew that. I thought it was like
You're gonna we have great guys in our team too. You're gonna meet them tomorrow. Gerardo is part of. He's a regional manager for our South Jersey. He's amazing. He's been with me over 10 years. My warehouse team is amazing. You're gonna meet them. They're all guys. But yes, most of us are women.
Yeah. No, that's great. So let me ask you. By the way, you said the whole like bus and then go clean. Did you ever have to go through that in the beginning?
I did, 100%. 2 years I clean. For 2 years, I clean apartments and my clients' houses. I did until I started hiring other people. And then about 2 years ago, we wanted to make changes in our turn division to cut the times that we allocated for the girls to spend. And before I did that, because it was going to hit our margins and we were going to be, better for the company financially. Yeah. But before I did that, I wanted to clean myself. Oh, wow. Because I didn't want to tell them that you have to spend X amount of time doing this. I wanted to make sure that the decision I was making, that is a really good financial decision, was actually doable. So I went and cleaned an apartment by myself 2 years ago. I almost died. Like, it was very difficult, but I did it.
Your empathy went even way more up.
It was the CFO, Daniela, it was Angelica from operations, and me. The three of us cleaned an apartment, and you never know what you're going to find. Wow. And, oh my God, we got a bad one. Well, a good one, I will say. Yeah. A good one.
You guys learned a lot in that time.
We were able to allocate times, know how much they were going to spend in an hour. So it's easier when you present it to the team because now they know that you did it yourself. So they can't just say, oh, you're just making decisions sitting there and not care.
And not really knowing what's going on down here.
Yeah, it's like, I did it. I know you can do it too.
2 years ago. See, I would have never... Okay. Well, listen, what advice would you give somebody? Final advice, if they're listening to this, maybe any type of advice. Doesn't have to be business, could be life, could be to women, could be to men, don't matter.
Business advice, if they're starting their own business, is never feel afraid of rejection. You will get rejected and never give up. Keep going after that client. That consistency will pay off eventually.
Boom. I love it. Well, Diana, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast one more time, and we'll see you tomorrow at the training.
Thank you.
There you go.
Hey, what's up, guys? Today's episode is brought to you by Cinch. If you're ready to take your commercial cleaning business to the next level, we have you covered. Maybe you're struggling with how to bid, how to create professional-looking proposals, or just how to ensure your customers' accounts are actually being cleaned at night. Introducing Cinch Janitorial Software. Cinch is a simple, user-friendly software that eliminates these types of struggles that you probably know all too well. Cinch simplifies your entire process and will supercharge your success because they remove paperwork headaches while creating a scalable, efficient, and profitable cleaning business. Get your free demo of Cinch at cleancinch.com. They're here to turn your business into a success story. That's cleancinch, CINCH.com. It's simple, it's Cinch.
I initially met you on a Facebook post that you and James put on the YouTube channel, and I was taking classes on cold calling. So I was like, how do I cold call? Let me YouTube it. And
that's how you found us?
The Profit Cleaners came up. And then I was like, well, this was on the first event that you guys had in the university. So I was like, wow, these people know a lot. And then how to go after dealerships, how to go after here, how to handle objections. So I was like, wow, they know a lot what they're doing. So I Facebook messaged you, I Facebook with James, and then they were like, we're going to have an event. And then I thought it was a scam, you know? Everyone said we're going to have events, like, give me your money, give me your credit card. I was like, oh, I don't know. Let me jump on the call with them. So, and then I had the virtual meeting with you guys over Zoom, and I found out what you guys were about from the call. I was like, wow, this is legit. And then I went to the first one while we were like 20 or 50, and it was really good, and now it's growing.
Just growing every time. You've been there since the beginning, man. I appreciate you. I'm very blessed to have you.
Next one, and now this one I'm going with my family, with my 1-year-old and my wife, and she wants to do a lot of activities in Colorado.
Nice.
And I'm looking forward for the trip. I haven't booked anything in the last minute.
we all
Latino time. Yeah,
exactly.
But I'm definitely looking forward to Colorado.
Man, you've changed a lot since year one to now. I think year one you were like kind of like trying to figure out cold call or like what's going on next. Then
to get on the phone.
year 2, you were like, I remember seeing you in the hotel and I was like, who's that?
Yeah.
And then I looked at you and you had lost a bunch of weight. You had your baby.
Right.
You had your business more structured. Like, what has changed since? Like, what are some lessons you've learned in the last 2 years that you're like, these are good lessons?
Right. So the first one is a dedication and consistency. So I was all over the place, and I was like, I need to start somewhere, and I have to do it well, because I'm doing a little bit of operations, a little bit of sales, a little bit of here, and nothing's getting done perfectly because I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to start with what's going to get me sales. And for me, it's, grow my revenue, grow my business. And I'm the only one that's going to be able to do it because I know my business in and out.
Yeah.
So let me master the sales things. Let me master psychiatry. Let me try to understand people's tone of voice, people's stress level, and see how I can solve their maintenance issues, especially in this region, New York, New Jersey, the tri-state area. A lot of facility managers are overwhelmed with the amount of work they have day to day and work orders and whatnot, and they're trying to find a provider to help them solve those issues. So I dedicated my sales campaign to luxury apartments in front of Weehawken, Hoboken, and all that, and door knocking door to door, and putting together a marketing plan that I believed was effective for the clients I'm looking for, and that's where I looked at your agency and how you can help, and obviously you added a lot of value through the seminars and the one-on-ones that I had with you and James, and it goes more above than the friendship and the mentoring, and I learned a lot of more personal stuff, like a lot of like brotherhood programs that you guys are in and whatnot. So,
and you became a father too.
Oh yeah, and then
that's crazy.
You
You became a dad, and usually when people become parents, business kind of declines or stops being ignored. It sounds like you found like a little substance that both of them were growing together. It was very cool to see.
I think my newborn was my good luck charm, because my phone, right, even before here, somebody filled out some website inquiries, and they're actually in Florida, and they bought a few educational facilities in New Jersey, and he was like, we found you because you're minority certified, and we are looking for minority companies to clean ours, so tell me about it. And I went on right, and I was like, we're family owned, we're privately owned, we're minority, small business enterprise, you name it, and I'm able to solve your solution. The guy in Florida, he was like, wow. He's like, when can you give me the proposal? I was like, I would go right now. I would turn on my car and visit your facility, but I'll be there tomorrow morning. What time do you want me there? And let's talk about business. Let's see your numbers. Let's see this. Let's see that. And the guy was like, wow. So I believe like the amount of dedication that I put and try to be organized, scaled from like -10 to like 110%. And I noticed like the hard work was paying off, because like when I spoke to James, he's like, wake up at 4 a.m, then go to the gym, then do this, then come back for the babies, and do this. And I'm like, I'm gonna try that. Let me see this 4 a.m. thing, because I'm not an early bird, but and then by like 1 p.m. I was like, my head was falling. I was like, I don't know if I could do this. I told my wife, she's like, go on, you can do it. When you go, I'm like, listen, I have a kid. I have something to motivate myself. I always, target something to motivate me. It's either my grandma, my mom, my baby, something that will give me that push. Or just like, think of something. And I was like, let me go in for the sale because of my son. Let me go in because my she died a year ago. Let me do this for you, grandma. Let's go. And sometimes I get intimidated because I just turned 30 and I go in front of like
Dude, you're just 30.
Yeah.
You just turned 30?
Yeah.
Dude, where did I think you're mature level? Oh my God.
And I go in front of like high level A suite executive like VPs and whatnot, and these people are sometimes with their glasses too and looking at you like this, and they were like, how can you solve my problems? And I was like, I'm inside, I'm shaking, and I was like, I know I can do it, but just conveying the message to this type of prospect, it's like a little intimidating for me, because this person is strong and aggressive, and their energy is like about to attack me. I have to go into a bulletproof. But I was like, listen, I'm I'm gonna walk straight in this, and I'm gonna close the deal. I don't care what the guy looks like or what is it. Let's go for it. And that's what helped me. It's hard in the beginning, you know. And once you want to start something, for me personally, once I start, I don't want to finish. So I just go hours and hours going there. I put my phone on do not disturb, full concentration, and now let's go. 4 a.m. till 4 p.m. I'm doing this, and I set my deadline, and I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. And if I don't do it, then I don't feel well, and I know that I'm not gonna get the results that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm slacking off. I'm doing this. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm procrastinating. I'm doing this. And I even got a book that James recommended me, and he's like, Angel doesn't like this book. It's
Which
it's
one?
worth
What?
it. It's like a daily planner.
Oh, the planner.
And he's like, but everyone's different. You try it. I was like, I'll give it a shot. I was like, hey, it worked out for me because I have to write this stuff. Everything's on my phone anyway.
Yeah.
But if I don't write it, I don't process. So I was like, okay, go here, go to the gym, go here, go here.
I love that you and
then-
James had so many conversations. No wonder he's like feels like super proud of you. He's
Yeah,
like,
is
dude,
that
he's
right?
like,
He hasn't told me, but he always gives me a pat in the back virtually. He's like, come on, you got it. He tries to talk Spanish. He's so funny. I love him.
He's learning, he's
I
he's
definitely
trying.
have that connection. And then I was like, don't worry, I'll support you guys and all I can. If it's like a YouTube like for the videos
we
or
appreciate
anything.
everything.
Yeah. Whatever I can do to help, I'm there. I'm like I always say in the email, I'm your number one raving fan. I'm always cheering you guys on. So I'm always following your channels and seeing what
But
improvements
it's good
you
to
do.
see the changes, man. You do seem like a completely different person. And you know, in the beginning, going to now, you seem more sharper. Not just knowledge, but like you almost like even the way you dress. I think you changed. Did you change the way you dressed and show up?
I think so.
You look more slick, more clean, more like you look like a like a business owner. I didn't know you were 30.
Yeah. I'm pretty young.
Wait, so
there.
when we were talking 3 years ago, you were
I was like
barely
26,
27, and you were
around
trying
there.
to barely take on. Had you already taken on the business for a while, or how long
Yeah.
have you had it by your own?
Well, it was 2 years in when I met you, but I was really struggling because like COVID was ending, and it was like a lot of minimum wage was going up in New York, so there was a lot of turnover. So I was like, what do I do? I'm getting a lot of objections. People don't want to pay this. Decision makers are getting, tougher and tougher as the day go on. So I have to find a solution, and there has to be a solution. So I just went on YouTube. I went on Google. I started looking. I started doing my own homework, and then I was like, I got it. I found Angel and James. They're gonna be my my mentors now on. And,
I don't even know how we meant that. We have.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're impressive, though,
Yeah,
man.
ever since then, I believe that the cleaning profit has been helping me scale my business, and that's something that I am grateful for, and I look forward into learning more through the podcast. And
How does your wife feel about all this? Like these
no,
changes?
she's proud of me, and she's like, keep on going. Like, she gives me that motivation. Like, let's go. And then it's 4 a.m. She's like, before she used to get jealous. She's like, where are you going? It's 4 a.m. You getting back on bed. I was like, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to shower. This. I give her the whole rundown. And I was like, and I can add you to my calendar, so you can have my calendar view on
you can see what
Outlook.
I'm
And then
doing.
you can, if you want, manage me or micromanage, but you have a lot of work to do on your own, And then she got the feel. She was like, wow, this guy is really changing. It's not all like, let me go
talk.
out party with my friends, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. But yeah, I decided to make the change about like 2 or 3 years ago to better myself and my future. And then I started learning about, IRA accounts and all these other more complicated stuff that I never even knew existed or stuff. I wasn't really taught into that. I knew nothing. My parents don't know it. Like, barely, like, what are they supposed to teach me about it? So I started looking into it. Oh, what is it? What is a CD? How much is percent? What if I put the money aside? Let me get a finance coach and whatnot. And
Wow, dude. I
started
didn't know any of this.
organizing myself. And now I'm like an organizational freak. My wife is like, I'm supposed to be the organizational freak. I was like, listen, I'm beating you now. Because
You have no choice.
Yeah, once I start my week on Sunday night, I was like, okay, Monday I need this attire, Tuesday I need this attire, I have a town meeting.
Really? You do it
politics
now?
in
You
my
do your
town.
attires on a daily basis?
Yeah, so
Wow.
like I know like I have to dress Tuesday here, Wednesday here, and then like tonight I have a town meeting, so I'm gonna go to the venue and then go to my township to go to another town meeting. So I have my my week planned and don't change it because
Always,
early.
yeah,
That's
it
why
gets
like
chaos,
Sunday
yeah.
I messaged you and I was like, "What's the address? Where are you going?" Because I thought it was in Manhattan. I swear because you said I'll be in New York. So
I know, I
like,
put
okay.
New York. I'm the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then-
Geography is not my thing.
And then you messaged me Eatontown. I thought I had your number because I was like, I need to know what to address.
Do we
I need
not
to
have
put
each other's
everything.
number?
But yeah, then I went on your subject and I saw your number and you texted me today. So now I know what to expect. I know how to handle objections on the call. I know how to be dressed appropriately.
Yeah, you're prepared already.
Everything's ready to go. And then I have like a big binder with cell phone stands. So when I give you, so like if I feel like that prospect is gonna, I have a good chance for that.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Here's a phone stand, and that's a QR code with my logo. And once you scan it, you're gonna find my YouTube channel, my
Nice,
Facebook.
dude.
You can like my social media accounts, and I'm sure you will have a great journey once you start a partnership with RBM Maintenance. And they were like, oh, okay, no one else brought phone stands or any touch points on the walkthrough. You know, it stands out. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And sometimes I close deals on the spot. Sometimes it takes a month. Sometimes it takes a year, you know, the
Yeah.
bigger hotels and whatnot. But I do feel that I've scaled, and
You're
it makes me feel
different.
fulfilled. And I'm always looking into how to better myself personally and professional-wise through going into seminars, connecting with BSCAI, with BOMA, and in my industry, connecting with everyone, the
Yeah.
heavy hitters from the top all the way to the bottom, you know. It's
I
always-
think you're like an example of wisdom right there. I think they always say like knowledge is one thing, information is one thing, but like when you apply the information that you learn, then you call that wisdom, right? You apply it, you experience it, then you get to see it. That's wise. I think you're one of the people that like have gone through events and in general through anything, and you always grab that. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and then you see it all the way through. Then I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna see it all the way through, and then you do this. And not many people do that. They just go and they think they already know, or they get info and they just never take action, right? So like, where does that big inspiration come from? Where does the inspiration of like continue? Because you seem like you're like a train right now. That's what I feel.
Like I told you, I always try to choose my motivation, that drive that will get me to the finish line. And before it was my mother. I was like, how does my mother bring so many? We're four of us. My mother brings 4 kids to earth, and I want to make her the proudest out of my 3 brothers. I want to be number 1, and I'm the youngest one. So my mother
there's a
always
drive,
like
yeah.
babies me, and they sometimes embarrasses me in front of my friends and all this other stuff. But I was like, I want to, not only because I'm the youngest one, but because she deserves to have to be proud of a son. So it was my mother and my father too. You know, he started from the ground. I would see him scrubbing toilets like at 4 a.m, just trying to get all our kids through college and whatnot, and in schools and activities
Did all your brothers go to college?
Yeah. And
Nice.
then after, you know, my father actually retired, he went to Mexico. My mother stayed here in New Jersey, and I was like, okay, now once my father said, I'm done, like, give me like a couple years. And then I was like, shit, I have to get going. But he knows a lot of the hands-on, so I have to learn how to strip and wax, how to window clean, how to do this, how to power wash, because no one gonna come over here and try to lie to me on what I know how to do. It's pretty embarrassing me not know how to sell, what I know how to do, but I know how to do it. So I was like, okay. So once I learned the operation in and out, and I know how to do it and teach the technicians, then he's like, okay, I'm out, you're ready. When he said that, I, like, the whole world, like, fell. I was like, what, you're leaving? He's like, yeah, another month. He's like, you got it. He shook my hand. He's like, I'm out. He's like, every month, this is how much you're going to have to transfer me. This is what you do. This is what I was like, get out of here. But I was like, I've been training, since I was born, not for this day, but for entrepreneurship. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what opportunity, God was going to put in front of me. And, I'm a man of faith, and I was like, listen, if this is coming to my path, I'm ready to take it. Let's go for the challenge. And then once he left, later soon I was on for a couple of years, and I was stumbling. I was looking for help, and Google was my savior for some days. How do you do this? How do you do this? How to do several of the stuff. And then now with my son, I love him to death. Like any second I'm with him, I check the cameras. I talk to him to the cameras. I FaceTime him to see him closer.
I love that.
I'm talking to the babysitter. Where is he? What is he doing? And then sometimes I just miss him. Like when I was in Colorado last year, I missed him like crazy. He was just born. Dude. So and then I just got the next flight. I'm like, I left early. I just stayed there for like the first 2 hours. I got my flight back to home, and I was like, I have to see my son. So he's my 110% drive. Having someone that's relying on you and saying, listen, you have to bring food to the table. You have to put me through school. The like week he was born, I went to Wells Fargo. I'm like, listen, I need a college account for this kid. He was like, when was he born? Where's his birth certificate? I'm like, he has no social security number. He has no birth certificate. Everything's in the mail. And they're looking at me like if I have 4 eyes. I was like, but open the account. And then how much you want to put him on? I don't know. What do you think? Oh, how much do you want for college? I was like, listen, man, he has to go to college. He has to be a professional. If he wants to be an entrepreneur, but he needs to do something. And he needs the resources to do it. So can you help me get this transaction to the finish line? Yes or no? Because they start asking me stuff that were like over my head. I was like, I don't know. And now I was able to do that. And I believe like he's counting on me. He's depending on me and his mother to teach him right from wrong and to put him through all his life cycles. And once he's 18, once he's 21, once he has his professional degree, and I'm expecting him, if God willing, to be the third generation, and if he doesn't, that's fine. Sell a company, and he does whatever he plans to do. Nice. And I have most of his future set up. So when he's ready to go to college, listen, son, I'm done. My job here was complete, as and things like that. I feel like maybe like our community doesn't really plan ahead. So I don't want to do the same mistakes that either my family, extended family did. But it's a lot of like organization and planning. And like I tell my sister sometimes, I'm like, why would you do step 2 without going to step 1? You have to do this, or you can't do. You can't go ahead of the game without checking this and whatnot. And it's a lot of planning and critical thinking. Yeah. You have to, there's risks, but there's like stuff that you really have to think on this. Like, is this something you can afford, or is this something you just want? So it's you can't afford it, but you want it. So you gotta wait for it, And if you don't have money to put your kids through their school, when not reaching, buy yourself a car. Like,
100%.
Pretty quick, you better be on a bike, get in the train, the subway, whatever it has to be. But the sacrifice has to be there. So I'm all about taking the sacrifice and the challenge to be the best father. Hopefully, I got the award, the best father of the year award.
Oh, you have one son that gets to judge it and one wife. So there you go, and God. So dude, it's been a pleasure seeing the evolution of you, not just a business owner, but as a man, as a husband. I remember the conversations we had in the earlier, and dude, it's like you're a complete different person. So if you had to give advice to somebody that maybe feels like they haven't evolved, what advice would you give them as someone that's continuously evolving?
Well, a few tips. The first tip I want to bring is speaking to someone, having someone you can look up to, and that you surround yourself with like-minded people. Because if you're surrounding yourself by rotten people that don't really bring anything to the table, and let's say you're always the most intelligent of the group, there's an issue. How are you going to be the most, it's not like you're that smart. But you have to surround yourself with people that can teach you something every day. And if the individuals you're surrounded with, you're not getting anything out of it, then you have to find a new circle immediately. Second is, I love to pray, Pray in the morning, pray at night, try to meditate, and try to stay healthy and interested, because this is a shitload of stress. Like trying to run a business, trying to run your family,
100%.
Trying to, Holy Week just passed by. I was trying to get those events. I was trying to do my walkthrough. I was trying to, at the end of the day, be with my family, which is kind of possible. I was trying to, volunteer and work in my community, in my company. So it's just like, let me stay organized. Let me surround myself with the right people, and let me choose my motivation. What is my goal for 2024, and stick to it. It's not like, let me lose weight. Everyone says like things, but be real to yourself, because the only one that you're going to be cheating is yourself. So if you want to be a cheater and you want to cheat yourself, go for it. But I'm not here to cheat my own self, because I'm the one looking at myself in the mirror and say, I'm the liar. So that's just my suggestions. Yeah.
Well, that's good advice, man. Thank you so much for being on the podcast,
Yeah,
brother.
no,
Super happy to have you
pleasure.
here, and we'll see you at the next event. We'll see you at dinner right now. And dude, again, I just feel truly honored and blessed that God put you in our life, and that you get to be a part of our journey, and we get to be a part of yours. So
Amen, brother.
I just want to say thanks, brother. God bless, man.
Hey, are you ready to challenge yourself? Mark your calendars for the event of the year, the Cleaning Profits Takeover Edition, happening in Denver, Colorado from September 24 to 26. Head over to event.cleaningprofits.com for all the details. For being listeners, use code CEO30 for a 30% discount. See you there.
Right, Mr. Erick Hines from Shine Up Services. How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. Honored to be here. Happy to be here. It's definitely an honor. I feel overwhelmed.
No, man, you're an amazing guy, brother. I know we do business through another company, and that's how we ended up inviting you here. So super excited to have you here. Now, for those that don't know, just a little bit, Shine Up Services. What areas do you service? Tell people where we're at right now.
So we're mainly in New York City.
Okay.
This is a New York City-based company. We target commercial businesses, right? And that's our main thing. We do some residential as well, but our main focus is on commercial.
Is there any particular type that you like in commercial? Any particular industry or maybe type of building?
I like schools.
Really?
Believe it
Okay.
or not, schools are great. We're really good at them. We manage them well.
Nice.
I think our clients are happy with us.
Good.
And I think it's worked out for us.
Well, you have a cool story, man, where you've been in the industry for a while, right? How many years have you been in the industry about?
Been in the industry for, I want to say 20 years.
20 years? Wow.
Yeah, I started as a day porter.
Oh, yeah?
I did the cleaning too.
Nice.
Right. And then kind of worked my way up, joined companies here and there.
Yeah.
Became manager, supervisor manager, director of ops. And I'm an owner now.
100%.
Right.
Not like this, though. Like this.
Right, correct.
100%. Here's a question for you. So a lot of people start in the day porter, and maybe they have ambitions to go to manager. That's about it. But it sounds like you fell in love with operations of some sort, because you went from day porter to director of ops to owner. And usually when someone goes into owner from director of ops, it's because they believe they have the capability to do it. So what do you love about operations?
I don't necessarily love operations.
Okay.
I kind of ended up doing operations.
Gotcha.
Right? What I've learned in this business leans towards doing operations, and I think, or at least have been successful, if you want to call it that way. But again, it's more of just working my way up. You do it because you care, you do it, and
Yeah.
I guess that's the effort you put in, but you do it because you care. It's not necessarily looking for a position. They just happen. It just happened to work that way. But
100%.
Starting from a day porter and just working my way up, it's something that you don't necessarily look for. It's in the back of your mind. You want to progress and you want to keep going up, but it's not something. But at the same time, I'm a little bossy, so I like things my way and certain ways and whatever. And it seem to be fair and they seem to work. So
Nice. So you have
implement
structures
in my
that
business.
work.
Mhm.
You said, I agree. The human mind or the human is meant to progress. I agree. I think we all want to progress. I want to be better. But you said I do it because I care.
Right.
And you sound like you're very passionate about your business and about you're almost like you seek excellence. That's what I get the vibe of. Almost like borderline perfectionism.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing. I actually think it's a good thing. Excellence instead of perfectionism. Excellence is a great thing. Right? Where does that passion come from? Like, why are you so passionate about doing whatever you do, doing it the right way? Because not everybody does that.
Yeah, I think it's just knowing that I was always taught by my parents to work hard for what you want, right? But just work hard. Whether you get it or not, the reward comes later. Right?
That's good.
So I've always been passionate about anything. I tell my kids all the time, just work hard. Things will happen. As you go on, as you continue, things will happen. And that's the story of my life, right?
Yeah.
I was working for this company, became director of operations. not thinking that I was going to get up there. And it was just passion, right?
Yeah.
It's just understanding what went wrong last or day before, right?
Yeah.
I don't want this to happen. What happened today? I don't want this to happen again.
Yeah.
So just that dedication to avoid this from happening again is a very good point when you want to start a business, or when you at least when you're in this business, right?
I love that what you said. Just work hard to get what you want, whether you get it or you don't. Just work hard, and if you work hard and you show up, what's supposed to be yours will be yours. Yeah,
Yes.
100%. And now you get to be a business owner after being in the industry for 20 years.
Right.
How was the conversation with your wife that you wanted to open up a business?
She didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it. She's like, we're just fine. Did you notice? You're being paid well enough, good enough. Why do you want to do this? Because simply, my answer was because I think I got something. I think we can do this ourselves. Get out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what happens. We have a tendency of being insane, and we're comfortable, we're good where we are, and we don't want to move from there. I think totally different. Right?
You went for it. No, that's good.
Right. I went for it, and I don't regret it. There are days that I'm like, what did I do? I wish I could just go back to that, right?
Yeah.
What we had. But the struggle, it's important because you learn from those mistakes.
No, dude, I agree. I think there's a different level of learning from struggles than from comfort and just doing the same thing over and over. You said something cool that you said, I think we got something.
Right.
That phrase alone is what made everybody start a business. I think I have the skill sets. I think there might be something here. And if I bet on it, our life will be much better. And at the end of the day, it sounds like she was like, all right, cool, let's go for it.
Well, she wasn't, like I said, she wasn't all there with me. But then when she saw my determination, she said, all right, I got you. We're doing it, and we're going all in. And,
I love it.
And again, hasn't been hard. I mean, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy, and it gets harder and harder. But at the same time, it gets easier and easier because I didn't know I could learn so much.
Yeah.
I mean, every day I learn a little something. The more you speak with someone, the more you watch podcasts, videos, your mentors. There's so much there to learn that it becomes easier. But then obviously there are obstacles and stuff that happen, and then cash flow appears here. Then
now you got to deal with money.
All kinds of stuff, right? As you know.
Yeah. No, that's good lessons. The struggles are hard. The learning, you realize that you don't know anything. Like you know some stuff, but not all. So now you start learning. So it becomes like this game, right? You're like, oh, I gotta learn more. But those struggles, man, like your mindset gets much bigger, like way stronger, more bulletproof. Your heart gets stronger. Everything gets stronger. Your marriage is gonna get stronger.
And you don't realize it's happening, right?
100%. You're just surviving. Let's be honest. In the beginning, you're just like, I'm just gonna go get it done. I don't know. Do what? I don't know. I'm just gonna get it done. But it sounds like after a year, you guys are doing great. You guys are growing, and you got invited to a podcast, man. See, now you get to hang out with a bunch of big New York and New Jersey companies, and I'm sure you're gonna take a lot from learning from them too, right? As you go into your new journey.
Absolutely, and obviously, I gotta thank you for that because you took a leap of faith on me. Just to have me here, right? Thanks for having me.
No leap of faith, bro. You're definitely, you got some sauce, man. Got some sauce. Let me ask you, because you're, ¿dónde eres?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. Let's go. What, from growing up, what was the number one lesson you got from your parents?
Hard work. You know, when you come from a country where you don't necessarily have everything you want, but at least my parents, they always work hard to give us not everything we wanted, but everything we needed, right? And so I'm content with that, right?
Yeah.
I was always a very simple guy. I consider myself a humble person.
What are some of the top lessons or top 3 things you want to teach your kids, or you teach your kids?
I guess for my kids, hard work, because you're gonna have an advantage on other people.
Oh yeah.
You know, laziness is always there. I think when you don't, if you're not disciplined and you don't do things you don't want to do, somebody else will too.
100%.
Right. So if you outwork everybody, I guess that's one of the things I constantly tell them. If you outwork your peers, you see the difference.
Oh yeah,
you see it at some point.
Yeah, 100%. It's like hard work seems to be running through your veins, right? And I think a lot of, I don't know if they came legally or illegally. I know my parents came illegally. Like, I think when you're an immigrant into the U.S., people think the American dream is opportunity, which it is, but it requires a lot of hard work, right? Hard work is the base of the American dream. Right. So question to you is, how do you stay motivated to keep working hard?
Part of the motivations is when you see results, the positive results, 100%. Right? Because if you do hard work and you don't see no results, you say there's something, either I'm working too hard or I'm not, there's something going wrong, right?
100%.
So I guess the fact that you see positive in your life, and you're able to turn things around. Coming from I came to the U.S. when I was 18. I did all kinds of jobs.
When you were 18?
I was 18.
Wow.
When I came here.
Wait, so in 20 years you went from day porter to manager to director of ops to marriage, parents in between, and now a business owner.
I didn't even mention all the other jobs I did that.
So you didn't start at 18. Wow.
But when you're 18 and you think you're all that, and they tell you, hey, do me a favor, just grab that broom and go around sweeping, right? I'm like, I'm 18. Everybody's looking at me. But it's a learning experience. Carry that with you along the way, and then you never forget. So when you have your workers, and you did that. You know exactly. You know what it takes, and you know what they're going through. Right.
And now you get to employ them. That's wild, bro. Isn't that kind of cool?
Well, it is.
Full circle moment.
It is a big responsibility too.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, heavy weight.
Responsibility.
Let me ask you, bro. Last question here, because I'm curious what people are gonna say. What you're gonna say for somebody that's maybe they are director of ops, maybe they're, maybe they've been in the industry, but they're always like, oh, I don't know, man. What if I'm not worth it? What if it doesn't work out? They're just having all these doubts, but they still. Even though they have doubts, they still got this calling. They're like, I think I need to do it. What advice would you give somebody that feels they have a calling to do something, but they're scared?
Really believe in yourself. But if you do believe in something, just go for it. However, plan it, right? Just plan before you do something. Don't just some people just go and go wild, and then it didn't work. Well, there has to be a process, right? You got to plan certain things and certain things. But if you believe you're capable, or you feel like you're already doing it, you're just not. You didn't. The business is not under your name, but you're already doing it.
That's
go
good.
for it.
All right. Question.
Yeah.
Yes. Believe. Plan. Here's the real. You just mentioned something. How important did God play a role in you making the jump?
For me, is everything. You have a tendency of doubting yourself. You have a tendency of losing hope at times. So you got to go back. You got to go back to God when things are not going right, and when things are going wrong. And that's the way I do it, right? I don't go too high. I don't go too low.
I love that.
But the reason is I go back to Him. I always go back to Him, and it works for me. And I'm pretty sure it could work for everybody and anybody. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't have that, right? And so sometimes they go low and they're done.
It's everything. Right. It's everything. God is everything. Right. That's a good point. Right. Whether you get high, whether you get low, whether you hit rock bottom, doesn't matter. If you keep going back to Him, He'll provide whatever He wants to provide for you.
100%.
Well, dude, thanks so much for being on the podcast, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you around. What's up, Profitable Cleaner listeners? Quick question for you. Are you using 5 to 7 different platforms just to manage the everyday operations of your commercial cleaning company? If so, let us help you consolidate that into one platform. Introducing you, uSource. Go to usource.com, book your free demo today, and actually get started on your trial for 60 days. No charge for 60 days, all from time and attendance to reporting, vendor management, operations, sales. It's time you stop using 5 to 7 platforms and consolidate into one. So listeners, don't forget, go to usource.com and start your account today. All right, awesome.
Excellent,
Well,
excellent.
Mr. Omar Miller,
Yes, part two.
part two.
Right?
The first time it was from, you were telling us your story about from Uber driver to how you got into cleaning, and now, I mean, look at you with this fancy outfit.
Yeah.
Give us a little life update from people I haven't maybe heard from you in a while.
Well, I wanted to just say thank you for putting me on your platform the first time around. That was a great opportunity. Anytime someone could showcase and tell their story, it's big, right? Because everyone in this industry has a story to tell, and we just want to be heard sometimes, So that was really good. I appreciate it. Since then, we are rocking and rolling, man. A lot going on, in terms of growing pains, growth in general, right? Just learning and understanding systems and processes, And I think the largest takeaway I've gotten throughout the years from now is just putting together the pieces and helping to align the composition and integrate the process as well, which is a big step, right? Taking all this knowledge and applying it to 9 or 10 or 15 different people, and then applying it to another 120 people, and making sure that it filters properly up and down, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we've been doing.
Well, we'll get into those parts because I love that. First time you took this podcast episode, which by the way, we're in New York, New Jersey, right? First time you took it from your car, I believe, because you were working, you were out in the field. Now
I'm still
you're
stuck in my
suited
car,
up.
man. Yeah, I'm still I was just in the car. I might dress nice in the car now, but I can't get out the car, man.
What do you mean by aligned composition?
Aligned composition, that's a good question. So aligned composition has to do a lot with your team, right? And the one thing I've learned at this point is, okay, I have understanding, capacity, knowledge on how to grow. The next step after that, once you have everything else aligned, everything's in play, right? I'll give you an example, right? Our 2024 forecast used to just include me saying, we're going to get this. But no, I mean, back in the day, but 2024, now it's a whole project, man. I get on a weekly call with finance, HR, operations, sales, sometimes area management when those need to be integrated. So when I say composition, it's having the right people. Okay. When I say alignment, it means that everyone knows how to connect the dots. And when I say integration, it means that, okay, everyone understands how to create this process and system, right? Because that's what we do. I mean, let's face it, we learn how to leverage technology and use it properly. But at the end of the day, there's never enough, right? You're always searching for something, but you don't want to have too much.
Yeah.
So what we do is we've put together spreadsheets, man. We go through a weekly report that's unlike anyone else's because it's specifically tailor-made for Advantage Cleaning.
Yeah, for you.
Right? It's just for us. To the point when I say integration and alignment and composition, when I use those words, it's this. Sometimes you get to a point where you're too big and you no longer understand your employees anymore, right? The people that make the wheels turn. So how do we use our technology to leverage that, right? In our reports every week, HR has her own section.
Okay.
In her section, it's not like, oh, this person did this person did that. No, there's achievements as well. And also on top of achievements, let's use SWEP for what it is. Let's look at it and let's utilize the mood report, right?
Yeah.
Who's putting a sad face or a neutral face? Give them a call. A lot of times you catch people off guard, right? I work 3 hours a day. You got a phone call. How'd you know I was feeling upset? And this is how you create a retention-based company, right? And what happens after retention? You build culture, right? And when you build culture, you build a strong composition. And when you build that, you go further faster, right? So that's what I was talking about when I said that.
I mean, that's a hell of an answer. You said a lot. One, everybody has to be moving together. So last time, it was more like, I'm just trying to grow. Right? You said, oh, guys, let's just go after this goal. Let's hold on, right? Mm-hmm. But you sound way more methodical now than last podcast. Last podcast was more like motivational. Let me tell you my story. This podcast, you seem like if I pull a thread, like we could get very strategical and very methodical, which I appreciate. What was that? Who or what did you invest in that allowed you to shorten or compress that knowledge gap?
That's a good question, and there's no one answer, right? Because some of the people that I've invested in coaching and things like that.
But you've invested in coaching.
I've invested in coaching. Okay. I've invested in myself. I've invested in, when I say myself, setting up habits to hold you accountable for understanding and learning processes, right? And then investing in the people who understand that, who've been there, done it, and allowing them to tell you what to do and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, right? And I think that's one of the biggest points of success is vulnerability. Allowing people, when you think you're on this mountain, oh, I'm here, I hit this number, let them break you down again, man. Because they're going to break you down again and they're going to find something again.
Oh, 100%.
And you're going to, in that, what they're finding is going to help you grow in 10x to the next number. You know, because a lot of people, I can't even speak on people, but speaking for myself, right? I could say this. There are times when I think we're at a certain point and then we look back at things and we have to make minor improvements that help us go a lot further faster, right? And without those minor improvements, we could really hit some big speed bumps along the way.
100%. You know? One of our mentors always said, we're like, what do you mean by scale? What does scale mean? And he would always say scale means change. And I was like, oh, I've never heard that definition. But it's like having the foundation needs to keep changing for you to keep growing, right? Like you can't keep building a 1-story house on a 3-story foundation. Like it has to change. Because
after a while, it doesn't make sense. You know, it's like if we just having this conversation, like growth, there's growing pains.
Yeah.
And embrace that pain because it means you're growing, right? When you don't understand something or know it, now it's your turn to find it and figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, I jumped out the Uber, now what? You know, so it's like, now what is being the leader you're supposed to be, right? Because if I'm not forward thinking and I don't have a cadence of people who think just like me, I'm doing something wrong, right? And I say that because I'm not leading people in the right direction.
Yep.
I broke it down for someone the other day and they say, why do we have evaluating our employees every week? We evaluate our employees once again because they make the wheel turn, right? And it's not for you just to point out someone's missing a spot. It's for you to point out, hey, this guy's a potential lead. This gentleman's a potential supervisor. This woman is a potential area manager, right? And if you connect the dots forth and back and forth, it goes like this. You've taken somebody, you're giving them a chance to employee growth and leadership, one of our core values, right? You're giving them a chance to grow. When you give someone a chance to grow, they make more money, right? They receive more knowledge. But you don't understand the back end of that story and what's happening. You're changing somebody's life.
100%.
Right? They're moving to new neighborhoods. Their kids are going to different schools. They're now saving money. So there's a long backstory that it's my job to see because I'm the visionary that not everybody understands all the time.
100%.
Right? And that's what I try to integrate and filter down.
That's a good, man, I'm so glad you brought that point. It's true. It's like creating a little web. I used to talk about something called beyond the sale, but it's the same thing. When you close a new contract, it's not just the contract. It's on your jobs that you're providing, the growth, and like I think one of our speakers said every household has an average 4 people. So if you change one person in that household, that's times 4.
Yeah. I told someone the other day, they said it was a diversity, equity, and inclusion, event. And I told them we are diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? And not only that, we're the epitome of economic development, the epitome. Because this is a ground level position, right, that you do not have to go to school for, but we're taking you in and we're teaching you, right? All the filtrations on the job chart are not for us all the time. We'll take you in if you're willing to learn.
Yeah.
And that's called economic development, right? You're taking the people who lack resources in certain circumstances and you're training and molding them on how to do things properly and be a leader. So no better definition than what I was telling the person is behind this industry, this $60 billion, the place that we're going, it's a huge industry. And we're really like assisting in moving the needle for economic development, right? When you talk about small business and platforms of training and things like that, I'd say we're up there on the list. 100%.
No, I would agree. And then that takes it, we're not even taking consideration like the subcontractor model too. Like you can build within your own employees. You can then provide opportunities to other businesses. Not every industry can actually work with each other. It's true. Actually not. Yeah, you're right. People don't realize that, but it's like you can't just sub out work. If you're in tech, you can't just be like, here's my sub. No, you can, like the web, I've noticed the web, that janitorial, special project, everything. It creates like this huge web, not to counter vendors and all that good stuff.
No, that's an excellent point, man. And although most of us are competitive by nature, it's what drives us as entrepreneurs. You're right. Most people in our industry, facilities in general, everyone's adjacent to each other. Look, I work with people who do corporate relocation. I work with people who do plumbing. I work with people who do all types of miscellaneous things within a facility. You would have no clue, like, okay, you're in here for what? And they're actually doing it, right? And they're a direct connect to the gatekeeper, right? So it helps out a lot to keep allies,
You have to.
That's definitely beneficial. And subbing is a big deal in our industry.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of it.
Yeah.
But, it is a big deal.
Different model, completely different model.
Different model, man. But once you start spreading out in all different states, it's almost something you might have to consider.
Yeah. Especially when you go past regional, you might be able to keep it depending on your region, right? Like if I'm in Texas, that's a big region. That's a big state. That's too big. California, even here, because of the distance of things, like how much traffic and the different laws. Here's a question for you though. You did something, and I don't know if you've noticed it. I'm pretty sure you have. You did something that most people can't do, or very interesting. We call that the I, we, they. So a lot of people, they start this as the cleaners themselves. They're the I do it, I clean, I do. Then they go into the we do, now we're a team. And then they level up and they get to the they, which is my HR does it. Ops do it, not me, Omar, me, Angel do it.
Correct.
Right? We empower people, we turn into they.
Correct.
That's when you become a owner. Most people stay as operators, but they like to call themselves CEO and owners. It's not true.
Yeah.
You sound like you're on the they stage.
100%.
Right? So what was that shift? Because when we interview you, you were definitely on the I think. Like, I'll sell, I'll go out on the field, I'll do it. Now you sound like, oh, no. People got it.
Like I said, man, it's fast tracking and leveraging your education, right? Understanding, right? I take my background, and all you have to do is show me something once or twice, and then I'm going to learn how to do it and do it well and try my best to perfect it the advantage way, and one thing I took away from a lot of my mentors is seeing where they were, and they had to, delegate to elevate, man. It's not like I could sit there and do this with you. In order for me to create this in 10 different states, I have to create myself here and then create myself there and then create it there. And how do you do that? You do that by having the right individuals. You do that by having a good onboarding process, but at the same time, be careful with how you're allocating funds in terms of education, right? So do a SWOT after 120 days, right? Now I'm going to pour into you, right? Now you're going to go in the building. Now you're going to be a registered service building manager, or you're going to come with a title, and the facilities manager is going to understand that you understand the capacity of the workload in here, right? And how do we create technology and leverage that in each state? It's our report that we put together, right? Because our report goes front to back through everything and connects dots. I could put that. I want to know if I look at this report in Texas, I could see who's in a bad mood. Now that's detail, right? That's really chiming in on your business and understanding the flow of the business on an internal, external level of all operations, right? And that's what I like to do. I'm not micromanaging, I just like to know what's going on.
No, but I think people confuse gaining insight with micromanaging. I think you're a leader, so you have to know how to turn data into insight, and then how to move efficiently. How do you not get stuck between doing it, especially onboarding? I know you love employees, right? And I remember talking about culture the first time we interviewed you. How do you make sure you keep the boundary between perfectionism and enough? Because in onboarding, I know from my own companies, it's like you can get this really detailed and expect a really crazy, and then you end up not doing anything, and then you grow and you're like, everything needs to change. How do you balance that out yourself as you scale?
How do you get in the ring with Mike Tyson and not get hit?
Yeah. Do you think he's gonna do good against?
I don't know, man. He's 57, right?
58,
but if he knocks Jake Paul, I think it's gonna be. Look, I commend both men because Jake Paul came a long way, but Tyson is a beast, right? He's in my eyes, he's our Jordan, right? There's a few mics that stood out, and he's one of them. Yeah,
I think he says, he's like, I'm very scared to go into the fight right now. He's like, but once it gets closer, I get less scared because once I'm in the ring, I'm invincible. Man. I'm like, okay.
I just hope his age doesn't catch up with him in the middle of the rounds. Perfectionism and getting it done, I think I can tell you my answer for that, right? And it would be trial and error is the only way. Trial and error with anything. Like, better than anyone else probably, when you're doing something and you're learning to like it, you don't normally like it at first. It's difficult. But if you keep going at it, you understand how to manage it, how to process it, and how to refine it, so to say, and do it better the next time. And that all comes from day-to-day experience, right? Yeah. Having a really well put together job description. First part, right? Understand what I'm asking for, right? Don't come in here expecting things or not expecting. You know exactly what it is, right? And then from there becomes the physical attributes of it if the person could really handle the role. And that takes time. You don't see it right away. You know, sometimes people come out of their shell in the first 60 days, right?
Yeah.
Or someone goes back in the shell in 90 days. So it's like, it's one of those things, man. It's just trial and error.
Most job descriptions are undervalued. Most people don't actually write out exactly. They just cleaning or technician or whatever. But it's like, you gotta itemize that thing, man. You gotta know exactly what I'm gonna measure you on. Because if you don't know you're getting measured on that, how do I expect you to perform?
It has to be specific and measurable, right? And I'm not going into Gino Wickman talk, but what I am saying is that because it has to be specific and measurable, you're right, people overlook it and they don't understand the clarity that holds, right? Because someone will look back at that and refer to it, a reference point, which is what makes systems go streamlined. So you need the reference point for that, right? And people look at that and they understand it better and they understand the description. They don't have to constantly ask you. You don't have to micromanage them. This is the golden plate. Look at it. And if you have trouble, I'll help you in those areas. But you're right. People overlook how important that is.
I love that. That reference point line is, there's a few nuggets in here that people really take them in, man. So Omar, from Advantage, what advice would you give somebody? To wrap up this podcast, what advice would you give somebody?
Are we talking about entrepreneur or are we talking about just in general in life?
Life, yeah. Whatever you want to give them.
Man, do what makes you happy. Do it to the best of your ability. And do it as though you're going to 10X it. And then do it to help other people as well.
Boom. There you have it, y'all. Thanks so much for being here, brother. Appreciate you.
And that way he don't play like no way. So I gotta get out of